Imagine bringing a 4-engine bomber home at night, fuel nearly gone, only to find the runway erased by fog. Britain's answer was to set the airfield on fire, not as a distress signal and not in one last desperate accident. Along both edges of the runway, crews fed petrol through long pipe networks and ignited row after row of burners. The heat drove warm air upward, lifting and thinning the fog until a visible corridor opened between two walls of flame. For crews above it, that opening could mean the difference between landing and disappearing. They called it FIDO, Fog Investigation and Dispersal Operation. Its engineering was brutally simple: tanks, pumps, 2 burner lines, and up to 100,000 imperial gallons in a single hour. Yet 15 British airfields would use it before the war ended. This was not a spectacle, it was a way home.
100,000 gallons every hour, just to clear one runway through fog?
Yes, and between 1943 and 1945, it brought 2,500 aircraft safely home.
The story began in 1942, when Winston Churchill demanded a way to disperse fog over British airfields. The assignment went to the Petroleum Warfare Department, an organization created to develop military devices powered by oil. Its engineers had already treated controlled fire as a weapon. Now they had to turn that same force into a landing aid. At RAF Gravely, the idea grew to full scale. Storage tanks fed a pump house. Pressurized petrol traveled through long pipes beside the runway. Crews still had to ignite each section by hand, carrying long torches alongside lines filled with fuel. By November 1943, Gravely was operational. Pathfinder Commander D.C.T. Bennett compared the approach to flying through a circus hoop of flame. It sounded theatrical, but the choice was real: fly through fire or try to land blind with fuel already running low.
So once Gravely went operational, fog stopped killing crews?
No. FIDO still had to be lit early enough, and December proved it.
Before we see what happened that night, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more true stories about strange machines, forgotten inventions, and extraordinary engineering. On the night of December 16th to 17th, 1943, returning bombers found eastern England buried under low cloud and fog. FIDO was available at only 3 airfields: Gravely, Downham Market, and Fiskerton. 3 lights on a map represented the only prepared refuges for every aircraft trapped above the cloud layer. Timing became critical. At Gravely, the burners were not lit early enough. Aircraft were already converging on the area and circling in poor visibility as their fuel continued to fall. Fatal crashes followed around the airfield. FIDO's physics had worked. The decision came too late. That night exposed another limit. Radio systems such as the standard beam approach could guide an aircraft toward the airfield and keep it near the correct line. They could not remove the fog waiting at runway level. In the final 100 to 200 feet, a bomber could still be traveling above 100 miles per hour with the runway almost invisible. Instruments showed where the strip should be. They could not make it appear through the windscreen. FIDO attacked those last seconds directly. Its fire revealed a corridor, but did not create calm air. Bennett described considerable glare and some turbulence during the approach. He considered it manageable, not comfortable. The system replaced one danger with a violent but visible path through it.
So the fire made the air smooth?
No, it made the runway visible and the approach rough.
Despite that danger, the result was enormous. The RAF Museum credits FIDO with 2,500 safe fog landings between 1943 and 1945. And with saving 10,000 members of aircrew. Each aircraft on the apron represented a crew that could be questioned, debriefed, rested, and sent back to its squadron. That was the real output. FIDO also kept operations moving in weather that would otherwise have made flying too dangerous. Bombers could return to a working airfield instead of searching for a break in the fog until their tanks ran dry. But every clear corridor began far from the flames. Petrol had to arrive in bulk, enter storage, pass through pumps, and reach both sides of the runway at the correct pressure. A failure anywhere in that chain left only dark pipes in the fog. At full demand, one installation could consume as much as 100,000 imperial gallons, roughly 456,000 liters, every hour. One airfield therefore needed something closer to an industrial fuel plant than ordinary landing lights. Storage supplied the pump house. A main line crossed the site, branches fed both burner rows. The flames were merely the final link in a much larger machine.
100,000 gallons every hour just to clear one runway?
Exactly. FIDO saved aircraft, but every activation burned a small lake of fuel.
That appetite explains why FIDO never became ordinary. It reached 15 airfields, mostly serving bomber command, and was used only when doing nothing cost more. After the war, the calculation changed. The last installation at RAF Manston was removed in 1959. Fog remained. Aviation fundamentally changed how it confronted it. Instrument training became more systematic. Radio, radar, and runway lighting improved. Instead of changing the atmosphere, the new strategy guided aircraft through poor visibility with greater precision. No single device replaced FIDO overnight. The deeper shift was from forcing the weather aside to teaching crews how to navigate within it.
FIDO fought fog with heat and petrol, but new landing systems guided pilots through it without burning a river of fuel beside the runway.
FIDO may sound crude, but its mechanism was engineered. Pressurized petrol reached burners and formed parallel rows of flame. Their heat drove warm air upward, mixing the saturated ground layer with drier air above it. The system did not erase an entire fog bank. It opened a corridor where visibility mattered most. Manston required 4 large storage tanks, a pump house, a feeder network, and nearly 200 burner units. Every flame depended on infrastructure working as one machine. A modern runway uses lights, instruments, and precise guidance. FIDO used heat, but pursued the same goal: one path to the ground. Its limitation is easy to demonstrate. Ignite both rows and a corridor forms. Stop the fuel and the fog closes back in. FIDO worked only while the airfield kept burning it.
So the strange part isn't that FIDO vanished after the war?
No, it's that something this absurd worked at all.
That is the standard by which to judge it. In wartime, the choice was not between FIDO and a cheaper, perfect solution. It was between burning petrol and risking an aircraft and its crew. The idea traveled beyond Britain, reaching airfields in the United States and the Aleutian Islands. The totals are disputed. The RAF Museum gives 2,500 aircraft and 10,000 aircrew. The Science Museum Group estimates nearly 3,000 aircraft and about 15,000 crew. The records differ, but not about the scale.
So even the official totals refuse to agree?
Yes, but every surviving estimate says the same thing. Thousands of aircraft and thousands of crews made it home.
A Ministry of Information film from around 1945 records the famous flames, tanks, pump house, pipes, and burner network behind them. FIDO was not a trick captured in a photograph. It was an industrial system built beside a runway. At its heart was a brutal exchange. Petrol bought visibility, and visibility bought time, enough for a bomber to descend, touch down, and bring its crew home. Once the wheels were safely down, the throttles could close and the fire could be left behind. That success also explains why FIDO disappeared. It was too costly, complex, and fuel-dependent to become a peacetime answer. Later systems pursued the same goal through instruments, radio guidance, radar, and better lighting, not by heating the sky. But under the conditions it was built for, FIDO did exactly what mattered. When fog erased the final stretch of runway, Britain turned fire into a way home. If you enjoyed discovering how Britain fought fog with fire, subscribe and leave a like. It helps us create more stories about strange machines and forgotten engineering.